Welcome to the Rugby podcast with myself, Mark Moss.
Myself, Sam Leeming.
If you like rugby content, like, share and subscribe to this video.
This week we've got a very special guest in ex-Gloucester captain. He's played over 8 seasons for Gloucester and has recently moved over to Japan for the Suntory Goliath. It's Tom Savage.
So, Tom, welcome to the Rugby podcast. How are you doing?
Morning, guys. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Tom, get straight into it. How's I assume you're at home now, and I've just seen your garage gym set up. Probably one of the best I've seen. How's the training going?
Yeah, I'm staying down with my in-laws on the south coast at the moment. So because I didn't have a garage at home, so me and my wife packed her stuff up since I come back from Japan, and I've taken over their garage. Or what room there was left in it. So yeah, I've got quite a long off season now, so I needed to get myself some equipment and make sure I can keep ticking over, really.
Awesome. When were you sort of looking to go back to Japan, or was it just waiting to see when it all settled?
Yeah, due back for pre-season in the first week of September. So and hopefully things have begun to settle down by then, and I'll have no issues getting back over and getting back into pre-season.
Awesome.
Good stuff. So basically, Tom, what first question that we've got is why Japan? Obviously, had a really successful career at Gloucester. Why do you want to move over to Japan? What other options were there on the table for you?
It was a bit of just a unique circumstance, really. I'd never actually really been out of contract in my time at Gloucester. I'd had a great time there, and before one contract had come to a close, there was almost another option to stay, and I'd always enjoyed that security and enjoyed playing as much as I did. So that had always been the case. I'd never really been to market or had the opportunity to look into going elsewhere, just because I enjoyed where I was, really enjoyed playing for the club. But this particular time, my contract was coming to the point where you start negotiating again. And I think I'd had a really good pre-season and played the first half. We had a pre-season game against Ulster, and I was playing like the first half, just like any pre-season game, really. One team playing the first half, another team playing the second. Felt I had a really good first half, especially for a first hit out. And then coach comes in, he says, right, you guys are going to do 5 more minutes. And then the whole of it's going to be wholesale changes. Did 4 of those 5 minutes and tore my MCL with probably my last impact to the game. Yeah, and that just meant I just felt at that point, I was like, right, well, I'm not going to sign with Gloucester, and things have been going really well, but I'm just going to probably wait until I'm back fit from my knee, which was going to be a couple of months and of rehabbing, and just see where I fit back in the team and things like that. And then in the meantime, from there, my agent just had a call from their Australian New Zealand agency that was linked with them, who have then got a department that works with players, putting players over in Japan, which I didn't even know existed. And they said, look, these guys have seen your profile on sort of the database that they've got of all the players who are out of contract at the time. And these guys are really interested. Would you consider it? So it's kind of just went from a conversation, would you consider it? I thought, well, I'd be silly not to look into it a little bit more. And then because I suppose very few players go over there and do it, it's something you probably never consider as like someone playing in the Premiership. You might think, or might fancy going over and playing in France someday or something like that. But no, Japan was something I'd never considered until sort of that opportunity arose. And then the more I heard about it and spoke to more people, the more I felt like it appealed to me and things like that. So kind of snowballed from there, and then that's how I've ended up over in Japan.
Yeah, class. Have you been to Japan before? Obviously your contract, or was that your first experience heading over there?
No, literally the 10 days after my last game for Gloucester, 10 days after that, I was in Japan. I'd never been there before. Put my life into 3 bags and hopped on the plane. So yeah, it was all sort of crazy time, really. There's so much going on, but no, I suppose I jumped in with both feet.
Class.
I suppose you talk about other players going over. I think you're the only Brit over there playing in the league. Is that correct? Do you know that?
Yeah, I think
we tried to have a look.
Season,
I think you're the only
this
one,
season I was definitely the only Englishman this year. I think Yamaha might have signed an Irish player, but I think I was the only Englishman. Well, flying the flag for the Englishmen over there this season. So yeah.
That's awesome. Obviously, with a few signings coming out, Freddie Burns, Ackerman's going over, Owen Williams. Obviously, a lot of players there sort of following your path. And Joe Latta, you played with as well at Suntory. Did you reach out to some of those Aussies and Kiwis before you went? And how was that?
Yeah, I just spoke to as many people as possible. Really, there was like a few. I didn't really speak to anyone about when I was thinking about signing. There was like a couple of guys I spoke to at the club about. Obviously, you're in a kind of unique situation. There's a few close guys you call on, and one guy I'd speak to would walk the dogs every morning around the Hartbury campus. I spoke to Bill 12 Trees about it, and we kind of go across the pros and the cons and whether you should do it and what his thoughts were. And he's someone I trust. And then another one was on a bus trip back from Newcastle. Willie Hines accidentally found out I basically had something to do on my Safari page on my iPhone. I sit next to him on the bus, and he saw that there was something to do with Japan on my phone, and he's kind of knew I was out of contract and put two and two together. But that actually worked out in my favour after his initial shock that his brother-in-law is Tim Bateman, and he plays at the Crusaders and has played over in Japan for a few seasons now. So that was actually really ideal, really helpful, that I could send him a few messages through Willie and see, look, there's all those little questions about living and what's this like, can you get this, because there's those like stereotypes where people think you can't get anything over there these days and things like that, silly little stuff that it was good to be able to get put in touch with a few guys that he knew, and they sort of answered loads of questions for me, and it was really helpful.
That's awesome. So moving on to, obviously there's obviously most of the teams are made up of Japanese players, but there's obviously a huge Australian and Kiwi influence. Has that helped with maybe some of the challenges, obviously having English speakers over there?
Yeah, definitely. We've got an awesome sort of foreign contingent at our team. Large teams. It's mainly due to there's limits on playing numbers that the squads can have, so, and every team does it differently. So I think there's only a certain amount of capped and non-Japanese passport holding players that can be on the field at once. So it's almost not in a Japanese team's interest to have 30 guys over there, because maybe 3/4 of those wouldn't be able to play on a match day. So but we've got an awesome group over at Suntory. Guys couldn't have been more welcome. That goes for both the foreign and the Japanese contingent. They couldn't be more welcoming, and that goes even across the staff. Like, you rock up and there's people to help you out. Because obviously I've gone from probably driving in a car 99% of the time to then you switch over, you get in the train 95% of the time, finding your way around, language barriers and things like that. All these things that you kind of take for granted, day-to-day ease of life things over in the UK, that all of a sudden become quite difficult, even something as simple as going to the bank or withdrawing cash. So it's like lots of changes, but no, something that they're more than set up over there to help a new player coming in.
How have you found the culture? Obviously, it's massively different, but there are massively welcoming people in Japan. But how have you found that change of culture?
Yeah, I've loved it. Obviously, I just think as long as you go over there and you're looking just to embrace that and not compare it to home, like, you've got to understand it's not going to be like home. There's going to be some things you might not be able to get, some things you're going to miss, but just go and embrace it and take it on and just sort of immerse yourself in it and go from there, really. It's like, even Tokyo itself just blows my mind, really, just the sheer amount of people. You don't want to go there with not having a plan for the day, because you just get sidetracked. You need to decide where you're going to eat beforehand, because there's millions of places to eat and things like that. But no, we've absolutely loved it. The people are friendly. It's super clean. It's super safe. We had our daughter over there on Christmas Day, and like, wow, just in terms of a place where you can take your family and feel safe is probably not a better place in the world. So yeah, that side of things has been awesome.
Right on cue as well. The cry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Knows you're talking about it. So yeah, what's been the best part about moving out there, and then what's been the biggest challenge as well?
Yeah, I think for me, I know I had a few coaching changes and probably changes within my time at Gloucester, but I was there for 8 seasons and I played a lot of games, and it's you're playing the same 12 teams, I suppose, because the same team goes up and down pretty much every season now. So you're playing the same teams, and my whole career, same grounds, a lot of the same faces. So just things like it's been quite refreshing for me just going over into a new environment. And it's not just a new team, but it's like new faces, new names that you're going to struggle to pronounce. You're going to not know some of the guys in the opposition, but then you go and play them and you're like, oh, that guy's absolute quality. Like, where's he been hiding his whole life? Things like that, really. And then, just new stadium, different way of getting to games. Like, you've gone from the team bus or the odd plane to the European trip to you get in on the coach, and then you're on the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train for 2 or 3 hours across the other side of the country. So all those things I've like absolutely loved. It's been quite refreshing for me going into that new environment and stuff like that. And there's still, like, rugby, you need to learn year on year. So there's still heap. The coaching's really good out there, and I still feel I'm developing and learning as a player.
I feel like obviously with the Japanese success at the World Cup, and obviously it's an ever evolving team, and obviously with more and more UK players going over there, especially starting from next season, where do you see the league going? You know, where do you see it progressing? I know you've only been there for one season, but you know, I imagine it's got big plans to expand and get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, definitely. I know that there's talks, because all the teams at the moment are company teams, and there's been talks about whether they turn it into, and a lot of the guys that play for the teams, for example, they will have jobs at those companies. And then they'll have a Japanese contingent and a foreign contingent that are full-time professionals. So you've got guys at our team that range that, which is like I quite like the way they do it, really. Like, they go and they get the best players out of high school, university, then will almost want to go to some of the best teams in Japan, and then there's like a limited number of spaces for guys to come into the rugby program, and you can play top league rugby for your whole rugby career, however long that lasts. And then when you come to the end of it, you've been doing a little bit of work along the way as well. And then at the end, you've got a job. So you kind of like miss out that issue that a lot of the rugby players over in Europe have, where they might have been lucky enough to play professionally for sort of 8 to 15 years if they've gone really well. And then they come to the end, they're like, well, what am I going to do now? So if they haven't studied or haven't done something like that throughout their career, they're a bit stumped, aren't they? But these guys, they work alongside playing. Even some of our team members who were stars of the World Cup have only just turned professional within Suntory. So they, up until that World Cup year, they would have been working a normal role within Suntory, having a different role in one of the departments there. And all of a sudden they're playing in the World Cup. So it's good to see. And then once they're done with rugby, they've got something to go straight into, and they could be well established at that as well. So it's quite a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, so obviously that's going to have its benefits as well. Having Suntory as your owner, with them being a big whiskey company as well, that's going to have its added benefits, isn't it?
Yeah, they cover a lot of you've got to be quite disciplined, because they've got a lot of options there. They've got a huge beer section, beer and whiskey that they're famous for, and they've got some pre-made alcohol pots which look like they could be a soft drink, and they taste like a soft drink, but they sit at around 9%. So you don't want to get anything wrong on those things. I know a few guys have been like, I've got severe memory loss having 4 of those. So there's some benefits there when it comes around to having a social.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. We'll touch on obviously moving to fly half. Tom, I'm obviously interested in follow certain players. Obviously, you got like Dan Carter, Quay Cooper playing over there, and now Freddie Burns. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gets on. Obviously, you played with him in Gloucester. He's still got a fair few years in his career, and I suppose that's kind of a theme for potentially older players going and finishing their career over there. But how do you think he's going to get on? And I think I'm personally really excited to see him play over there.
Yeah, I think he'll. As long as he's gonna go in there, and like Freddie, I know him fairly well, and he'll go in there and he's going to buy in 110%. He seems to be really popular wherever he goes, and he's certainly someone where I think his style of attack and his style of play is something that's going to go down really well over there. They like to see him. I think that at this stage, I'd say, unlike the Premiership and some of the other leagues around the world now, where the defences are on top of the attacks, I'd still say the attack is still a lot stronger than some of the defences, and you see a lot of nice, high-scoring games that people want to watch, that's attractive to watch. And I know they like their attacking rugby over in Japan, so I'd imagine he's going to be given full licence to go over there and and run what he wants, and I can see him going really well.
Awesome.
So yeah, there's been quite a good Gloucester contingency heading over there, isn't there? Obviously, Owen Williams, Freddie Burns, Johan Ackerman. Have they spoke to you about being out there? I think that's probably a testament to how much you're enjoying it, if they have, because that's quite a large...
Like I just bounced a few messages across to Freddie the other day when just to say, look, I'm sure he's got everything covered with his club. Will probably be very proactive with sorting him out and stuff. But if there's anything you need about, it's one of those things. It's everyone kind of, I think, because everyone's been in the same boat. I think if you've moved over there or taken family or a girlfriend or a wife over, I think there's going to be certain questions you've got, and I think everyone seems to be, because they've done that themselves. I think if there's any help they need of, look, where's the best place to get a car from, this, that and the other, how did you find this, who's your mobile provider, like little things, day-to-day things that you wouldn't even consider being an issue back home, that all of a sudden can become like a bit of a mountain to climb over there. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be in touch before he might finally moves over again. But yeah, he's I've already reached out to him.
How's your family found the move? Obviously, that's, you've enjoyed it. Have they had the same experience? Have they made friends?
Yeah, well, we're where we live, so our foreign contingent lads, 80-90% of the foreign guys over at Suntory, we all live in the same apartment building.
Okay.
So it's quite cool that you've got your own little community there, and
nice.
then on your doorstep you've got there's a lot of young families over there, and a lot of the guys have already got wives or girlfriends. So automatically you've got like a new friendship group, and and someone to look out for you guys, and everyone's been there a varying amount of times. So they help you out on loads of different things. So it's been helpful, and it's been a really smooth transition for me and my wife. She went over there pregnant, so it's like another mountain to climb there. But no, that the club, between the club and all the guys, all of my teammates, it's been really helpful and been pretty smooth, I'd say.
Stuff. So so final question really, what are your personal goals while being out in Japan? Is that where you're looking to end your career? Or are you looking at another move after that?
No, obviously you've got to see what stage you're at when it comes to that, making that decision. But all I say at the moment, I'm really enjoying my time there. Obviously, my first season cut a little bit short because of unforeseen circumstances. Yeah. But look, I've enjoyed my first season there so far, and the goals for me would be really going out, and I want to win some silverware with Suntory. Like we were going well in the league this year, and we were looking to compete for the top league. So yeah, hopefully go back in good shape next year, and hopefully we can push for winning that competition. So yeah, and I'm signed with them for next season, and after that we'll just have to see what comes along. But I'd say so far I've enjoyed my time over in Japan, and if it was an option to stay out there, I think I'd probably take it.
Great stuff. So we just have 3 final questions that we ask every guest on the podcast. First one is, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given as a player?
It'd probably be quite generic. I'm sure everyone would say it, but I'd just say you just got to work hard and enjoy it. I'd say, like, obviously rugby's getting more and more competitive. Like you see now, like good players going without contracts, guys having to drop down leagues to find opportunities and things like that. So yeah, you've got every year there's someone snapping at your heels at somewhere, coming out of school or coming out of university or coming out of an academy that wants to take your spot. So yeah, keep working hard. It's one of those things you can't complete rugby, can you? You can't be too good at anything, like whether it's fitness or something to do with your skill set and things like that. And just enjoy it as well. Like, just remember why it was the first time you went and picked up that ball or went down the park with your mates. And I think it's because you enjoyed it. So I think a lot of guys can go into games and they can bog themselves down with how serious it's taken and stuff like that. But if you just go in and you look to enjoy it, I think you're going to get the best out of yourself performance-wise as well. Good
stuff. Is there any books or series that you've been watching recently that people at home might want to check out during lockdown?
What have I? Probably like everyone, I've been watching the Last Dance on Netflix. Probably a popular answer. Yeah, so I've got one more episode to go, so I'm saving that when I've got when the little one's down. I've got a bit of alone time. I can immerse myself in that. Apart from that, I just probably watch like I use Gogglebox as my weekly TV review. If it's good enough to make it on there, we'll watch Gogglebox, and Killing Eve season 3's been on in the background a little bit during isolation. So yeah, just a few of the standard ones.
Yeah, so fantastic, great. Final question is, what's next for Tom Savage?
Tom Savage just battling through sort of, well, it was isolation now life, it's now stay alert, isn't it? So I'll just be staying for the next few weeks. Keeping my head down, keeping myself in good shape. Hopefully I can put a good fitness base down going into the Japanese pre-season, because I know it's probably going to be tough, and enjoy some quality time with the family, and look forward to getting back out of Japan come September.
Fantastic, Tom. Thank you very much for this. If people at home want to follow the journey, where can they reach you on Instagram, Twitter? What's your handle there?
I am at Tom Savage on Instagram, and I think I'm TC at TC_Tom Savage on Twitter. I think there's a few guys beat me to it on there, so yeah, I had to mix it up.
Fair enough. Yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm Mark Moss 1996. Sam?
And I'm at Sam Leaning 10.
Thank you very much, Tom. Really appreciate your time, and good luck for the coming season.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for having me on. Cheers now.
Thank you very much. Cheers.